everybody, this is the Wikstrand. Oh boy, we're gonna have to talk about Adam Sandler today, aren't we? And not just Adam Sandler. We're also gonna have to talk about one of his best friends and another actor I really dislike, Kevin James. And the more I think about it, the more I realize that I actually hate Kevin James more than I hate Adam Sandler. Because, you know, in his later years, Adam Sandler has actually, been in a couple of really good movies, and he has also in the past done a couple of comedies that is legitimately actually funny. Kevin James has, up to today, starred in, well, none of those things. He has done exclusively horrendously bad movies. And we're going to have to spend almost 2 hours in their company. Oh boy, oh joy, oh bliss. But to be fair, this is not quite as egregiously awful as it could have been. It isn't a good movie. But considering how bad this movie could have been, I would say that they will get off pretty easy in this one, because as sketchy as the comedy is in some case, there is some things in this movie that actually works, and we're gonna find out what that is and what this movie is about. This is, I now pronounce you, Chuck and Larry. Chuck and Larry, played by Adam Sandler and Kevin James, are two firefighters in New York City. They're best pals since, they were little kids, and they always stick out for each other. And recently, actually, Adam Sandler saved Kevin James' life, when a part of a roof collapsed on him. The thing is that Kevin James is a widow. His wife died a year ago, and he's mourning her in the same way as Ned Flanders did in The Simpsons. And, he also finds out that the insurance policy that he has taken out on himself is still has her as the benefactor, and he hasn't, taken care of this. And because he feared that he might die, any other day, because, firefighting is kind of a dangerous line of work, he freaks out and thinks that I need to, secure my children's future. He finds out that there is a way to speed up the process of getting, the benefactor from his dead wife to his children who are alive, and that is to get married. But he doesn't want to, marry some woman that he, can't trust, or any local yokel or something like that. He wants to marry Adam Sandler. It's not going to be a proper marriage, it's going to be a fake marriage in order for this thing to go on. The thing is that Adam Sandler kind of said to Kevin James that I will do anything for you, anything you want, I will be there for you, buddy. And he probably didn't expect this to be the thing that Kevin James was going to ask him. Now, Adam Sandler himself is as far from a gay man as you can possibly get. He's basically Quagmire. We're talking about, the old classical Quagmire who was swimming in pussy. Not exactly like, the new Quagmire who's kind of a spare prick at the wedding, aka completely useless. But that's a story for another time. The thing is that they get married in Canada, and they register as partners and stuff like that. But then it comes this Weasley marriage inspector, or something like that, I would say, played by Steve Buscemi, and his fantastic bum bag. And he starts, to suspect that this marriage is a, sham or something like that. And now they're gonna have to fight, to prove that they are actually a gay couple, despite not being a gay couple. And their lawyer in this case is Jessica Biel, who Adam Sandler, of course, gets the hots for, and sees that she's the one, she's the woman I've always been waiting for. Now, this is just for me and my personal taste, but I think that almost every other woman that he has been spotted with throughout this entire movie is way hotter than Jessica Biel is, and also has more personality than she is, because her entire role in this entire movie is basically stand here, look attractive, and have no personality, and Jessica Biel can do that. Nevertheless, despite these movies' many shortcomings, they still have an odd charm to itself that I kinda like. And also, we have a bunch of very good side characters that really gets to shine. Not only the fantastic Steve Buscemi as, the marriage inspector, but we also have their boss, played by Dan Aykroyd, in maybe his final great comedic role. Especially, he has a sequence in the end, in the courtroom, when Dan does his classic 100 words a minute speech, rattling on things, and it's absolutely glorious. Those two deserved a lot more screen time and should probably have taken precedence over the incredibly boring and stale comedic duo that is Adam Sandler and Kevin James. They do have good chemistry, but almost none of their jokes landed, and they were incredibly unfunny, and the entire scenario was incredibly clunky, and it was like getting this square thing through this round hole, and they hammered the fucking thing down and then it got stuck there. And also, this movie was 110 minutes long, and despite that, they still didn't have time enough for the ending, which felt very rushed. To that I say, huh? And now we have to talk about the homophobia thing, because after the masquerade ball, you know, when Adam Sandler gets to meet Jessica Biel's brother and stuff like that, and gets to know, you know, them a little bit more, and gets to know the gay community a little bit more, we have this thing where these right-wing religious lunatics are, you know, berating, you know, the gay activists and stuff like that, and we see this small little sequence of, you know, two people that are, you know, crying because, you know, they're being berated by lunatics, stuff like that, and I felt very sad, I felt very bad for them. And there is also all of these sequences when Adam Sandler and Kevin James, on, you know, separate ways, experience homophobia. And the thing is that those sequences does have a powerful tone to themselves. Those sequences work surprisingly well, to the point which I thought that if they could have had, you know, somebody else starring in this movie, if they could have had a proper R rating, if they wouldn't have been so scared of, you know, their own subject matter, and if they would have had better writers and they would have taken this one a little bit serious, they could have made a very good movie about this one. I don't think that Happy Madison is the best production company to tackle a thing like, you know, gay rights and homophobia and stuff like that. They kind of did it, but they also kind of not did that. But despite all of these things, this movie is not a terrible comedy. You know, if you compare this one to the awful, horrendously bad Adam Sandler movies that I've seen in the past, like Waterboy or Big Daddy or Jack and Jill, the grown-up movies, Hubby Halloween, millions of other stuff, this movie is sort of in the middle of those things. It's a pretty lame movie, but it has its moments of brilliance. But few of them are from, you know, Adam Sandler or Kevin James. It's mostly from the side characters and the situations that they're in. Also, one thing that really annoyed me is when Steve Buscemi says that their trash doesn't really appear that gay. Who the fuck are you to tell them if their trash is, you know, gay or not? It's the same thing as, you know, does all gay people have to listen to Barbra Streisand? I'm sure that there's a lot of gay people who like Kansas and Yes and Rush. Don't know why I mentioned those three bands, but anyway, it was a little bit annoying. And as I said, sometimes I get the feeling that they are a little bit afraid of, you know, the subject matter that they're tackling. And the PG-13 rating didn't help a lot. Oh, by the way, before I forget it, we have Rob Schneider as a Asian wedding aficionado or something like that in Canada. Okay, I guess so. So, should you see this movie? Yeah, I would skip this one. If you really like Adam Sandler's movies and can tolerate this motherfucker, I think that if you haven't seen this movie, go see it, because it is not one of his best ones, but it's certainly not you know, as bad as they can get. If you, like me, have an Adam Sandler problem or a Kevin James problem, this movie is not going to sway you in any way. You're probably going to dislike them as much as you did before. But for, you know, Dan Aykroyd and Steve Buscemi, I could watch this movie and just see those sequences that they're in, because they have the best lines, as you know, usually side characters in romantic comedies does, and actually for a couple of heartfelt moments, especially in the beginning when, you know, Kevin James is talking about his children. You can really feel that he means what he says when, you know, he loves his children. I don't know why those sequences worked so well, but they kind of did. It almost made me like his character, but then, you know, as soon as, you know, they're starting to bickering with each other like an old married couple, I got really annoyed really fast. If you're gonna compare this thing to a better movie, I would choose the movie 3 to Tango, a romantic comedy with Matthew Perry and Neve Campbell and Oliver Platt. It is basically a similar theme, but it is handled in such a better way, and it's also way funnier, and it is the best performance by Matthew Perry of all time. The more I think about it, I would like to review that movie instead of this one, because this movie kind of sucks, but it is not as bad as it could have been. I give this movie 31 points. It is a decent Adam Sandler comedy, and Adam Sandler is not as egregiously awful in this movie as he can be in other movies, so that's a plus at least. So I'll see you next time for, well, so-and-so reviewing, well, such and such. Thank you for watching. Thank you very much.